Hey guys, Clint Brown here. I thought I would give you a tour of the bakery. It is Thanksgiving Day. It's about 4 degrees out, and I'm going to walk you through the building. It apparently was finished sandblasting, so we're going to do a full walkthrough and see what's inside. So let's go ahead and jump in. So they painted the outside of the building, which we were super excited about because they repaired all the brickwork. See some scaffolding up there. And just so you have a lay of the land, here's the building, and there's the street, right, with the apartments, and then here's the steel building out back. And so to prep the property, they actually tore down the trees. Now, that might upset some of you, but we found a document from 1916 showing that the trees were not there. It was actually a grassy spot where people would come and look over the city and look at the falls. And so we're excited to kind of return it to its roots. So let's see if we can get into this building. The keys are not the easiest to use. Let's see if we can jiggle our way in here. An old door. Might have to set the camera down. Strong arm it. Oh, almost got it there. Ah, perfect. Okay, so it's gonna get a bit darker and we'll see if the camera adjusts. So this is the and you see, I guess they just finished sandblasting the upstairs. This is the original basement to the bakery, and I love it. It's kind of a scary old space, and you can see the cool paint missing on the beams and the old arches over the doors. But this was the original place where the baking happened, and right here there's a hole, and inside that hole was a huge oven. And the heat, and they would throw coal in there, and the heat would go up through the ceiling. And over here's a second one, and then over here is a coal room. And you may have saw a video of Brian where they poked a hole in the wall right there incorrectly, and then had to move it down. But you can even see a historic door here. Here was a door frame, and then there was a window there, there, and there. And you know what? It'd be really cool sometime if we got to reopen those. But for the time being, this is the basement. And this will all get cleaned out, and some restrooms put over here. And then this will be the new front door into the building through the old elevator shaft. And let me show you guys this. And yes, it looks like a construction site down here because they're doing construction. Let me show you. If you look up, the elevator shaft is really cool. Look at that old elevator. How awesome is that? So literally the old counterweights, and it's made out of wood. By a company called Sedgwick, and there's the old electronics that controlled it, and the arch doors. I just love this kind of stuff, and yes, there's a romantic part to this building to me, but I think the repurposing of it is what really excites me the most. So down here there'll be restrooms, and over there is the big steel building, and that door will go through, and you didn't hear it from me, we're gonna have a bit of an adult playground in there. And so we'll come up these stairs, and they'll all, of course, be redone. And you can see the old exposed brick. But this is the main space that we're converting. Holy smokes, is it cleaner. Okay, so this is fantastic. All right, so let me orient you with the space. Here again is the street, and you can see the apartments. These are the new front doors at street level, or what will be the doors at street level. So you'll be able to come in here. There'll be a wall here, and a door, you know, so like an airlock so that we keep the cold days like today out. And you'll be able to check in there, open the second door, and then come into this grand space. And I gotta show you, sorry, this is just me being a nerd. This is an old Edison switch. Look at that. You push the button in, and it comes out the other side. And this went to the old lights on the outside. So you would have bought those, Thomas Edison invented them, you would have got them at the World's Fair. Right around the turn of the 1900s. So this is the space, and you see what a great open space. You can imagine back in the day the hustle and bustle of a bakery. There were several rooms in here of offices, and the ovens were over here coming through the floor. You can see, and they went up through a chimney. But this space is going to be converted into our new community space. And so the idea is that you're going to come in here, and there's going to be multiple places to sit and interact with other folks in the community at any given time. So we might have benches under the windows here, or standing desks. We're going to leave all this old exposed brick. I personally love it, but it is rough and gnarly and historic and just everything I would want out of an old building. And we got these old steel beams, which we're probably going to have to seal because they will rust. Got these old iron beams, right? Look at that, the old iron holding the building up. And I just love all this old wood. All this stuff's 100 years old. This building's 100 years old this year. So there's the sandblasting where they've swept up. But you can get the size of this building. This room is 60 feet from end to end and about 40 feet, 45 feet wide. So a huge space to collaborate and connect with folks and use for just a multitude of purposes. Over here, the roof drops. And you can see here what appears to be a second area. And we've thought about putting kind of sliding chalkboards there to give kind of a second space. We'll have a new garage door. Here's the door that'll go out to the parking lot on the north side. And if we look out the window, it's really dirty, but you can see the park, Tower Park, and old windows. And we got a lot of windows to replace, guys. There's a lot of work happening here. There'll be a window in each one of these holes, so 14 windows around here to open up the light. And then you'll just have this grand space. So if we come all the way over here, what you're going to see is what we're going to turn into a meeting room. I think we're going to call it the oven. We just like the idea of cooking things, cooking up ideas. But we're going to turn this into a classroom. So you can see it's all new roof and walls. These walls will be kind of double thick. They're going to be a space, like 2 sets of walls to reduce noise and to put some utilities into the upper floor. And so this is where you would stand if you were teaching, and you could have people sitting here and some beautiful light coming in. And we're just really excited to have this kind of space. I personally love to teach, and so I love a good learning space. Look at this great old switch box of the old electronics. How fun is that? Now, I was in here the other day giving a tour, and thought I was being really cool and talking about these old fuses here, and I wanted to take one. I'll be honest, I wanted to steal one and keep it, and I shocked the crap out of myself. There is electricity running through that old booger, so if you're down here taking a tour, I would advise you not to touch the electronics. I've already solved that mystery for you. Took one for the team. So we hope to put in wood floors here. We'll have a bathroom over the elevator shaft. It won't be like the one you see floating around Facebook with a glass floor. It'll actually just be a restroom with a nice window. And we will gut the elevator, and then we're going to keep all the pieces, and we're going to need some artisans to do something with all these cool counterweights. Look at that whole stack of counterweights there. We'd really love to have somebody who's a metal smith come and do something really cool with that. And so I would love to see art along that back wall, and just the space vibrant with stuff. So I'll try not to spin so much, sorry. My wife always says that I make her sick with the videos. So we're going to go up a spiral staircase here. So those of you who have, vertigo, close your eyes. So we go up the staircase. This will all be enclosed, obviously, but for now it's open, and I love this old, you can see it's a spiral staircase through the floors. And look at those old rafters. Obviously they need some love because they're just hanging in there. Isn't that great? That original mint color. So we'll come all the way up, and this is where we're going to have our offices. So this is a little smaller than where we're at now, but it's a little better floor plan. So we'll come up here. They'll put a door in here to an office. Let me give you get you oriented again. So I'm facing north. There's windows looking out over the falls. This wall will move back, so we have one kind of grand room here, and the ceilings in here are probably 9 feet or so. And we're going to have just 4 offices for Flexor up here. So there'll be one here with a wall, and then in between the windows a wall, and then there's already a wall there. And we'll have nice big doorways into the offices with barn doors sliding across, you can see there. And then I'll scoot this wall back into another one, and then a third one around the corner, a fourth one rather. And so this is our space for our offices, and this is about, I want to say it's about 1,300 square feet up here, 1,200 square feet, a little smaller where we're at now, but much better use of space for us to get our work done. So our team is 14, and we need some space for people to work. And here's the top of the elevator shaft, right? Which, again, I just love all of this old stuff. They're going to bring in a crane and take out the old gear that's up in there and those pulleys, and look at that coil of wires right there. That thing has got to weigh a ton. So here, for those of you who like heights, you can look over down the elevator shaft. Just looking down maybe, 30 feet or so. And so, and God knows what I'm standing on right here. But this will be our restroom. We'll have one restroom on the top floor. You can see down the staircase that way. So this will all get repaired. We got these lovely old doors to keep. And I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to take you outside. But you didn't see it from me that you can get out this way. Let me move some of these ginormous boards with nails in them. Okay, and I'm going to step outside, peel this open. It's all hooked in the rock up here. There we go. All right, now I'm out on the roof. So you can see where I started earlier down at the car. And here is our view of Sioux Falls. So again, to orient you, right now, if we look right down the ridge of this, we are looking at the tower at Falls Park. Do you guys see it right there? So our view is of the falls. Which really excites me because such a key component to our identity as a city, not only locally but nationwide. And there's downtown. So someday we hope to have a deck up here where we could come out and enjoy this beautiful view. For now we'll have windows. I'm gonna go back inside because it is really, really cold. Let me shut this up for the time being. Hang on just a second. Alright, I'm sure that will keep absolutely nothing out, but makes me feel like I did my job. Alright, so let's head back downstairs for just a minute. And I've got to get off to my family Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, a nice low ceiling here. All of our tall guys are going to bonk their heads. All the sandblasting sand and grit. Let me just set up the camera so I can talk to you guys for a minute. Find a stool here. Sit down, see if you can see me. Oh, that is too tall. I'm a long torsoed guy. Let me see if I can set this camera a little higher here. You can tell this is really planned. Shoot. And I'm gonna keep my hat on because it is absolutely freezing in here. So the vision of this bakery is really to re-embody what happens in a bakery, to have a space where ingredients are put together and new things are made. You think about a bakery, right? They get flour and yeast and water, things that are in separate environments. They come together in something new that blesses those who consume it. You know, I was doing some research on the history of bakeries, just the idea of baking stuff. Of course, baking is maybe 10,000 plus years old in humanity, but back in the Middle Ages, they had community bakers. And so a landlord, everybody who lived on that land, the landlord would provide an oven and a baker, and the women would make dough and they would bring it to the local baker and he would bake it. And it was a shared spot where people would bring their ingredients and together produce something that was good for them and each other. And I thought, man, how picturesque is that, but something that we can apply to business. Can we take the wisdom of old? Can we take something from the Middle Ages, right? There's a lot of stuff that need to be left in the Middle Ages, but can we take something so beautiful as a community bakery, a community oven, where ideas come together? So, we talk about on the website of thinkers, doers, and creators, and I think there's a space. People don't know what to do with thinkers, doers, and creators. I'm the type of person that got written up from every job I ever had. I always got written up all the time, and I would be accused of thinking too much. Clint, you just need to stop thinking and just sit down and do what we ask you to do. And I didn't fit in. And some of my friends who are creators and other folks who do with their craft, I just didn't know, where's that space here? I mean, I run into you guys at Queen City Bakery, I run into you at Monk's,
Our cafea are these kind of little spots around town where we know each other, but where's the space that fosters that for the next generation? If we say everybody here who is a thinker, doer, creator, what about the kids who are in high school right now who are going to be our employees or maybe our bosses in the future, maybe employing our children? Where are they going to go? Where's that culture spot going to be? And I think as a culture we've lost a lot of those spaces. We no longer congregate in churches or city parks or community forums like we used to. And so I think in the world of entrepreneurship, and I use entrepreneur as anybody who has, not someone who's going to start a business, but someone who wants to use their craft, use their skills to better themselves and others, kind of for the greater good type stuff. They get an idea and they think it could help other people. That's what I'm looking for here. And so this idea came about really by us listening to a lot of folks. Our office is kind of a hub of activity of people from all different sorts of businesses, and frequently they would come in, business people maybe just like you would come in and say, hey, where are other people like me? Where do I go when I need to talk about, I had a client call me last night and say, hey, I double booked a date with my husband at the same time as my Christmas party, and I don't know what to do about that. Okay, well that's a normal, mundane, day-to-day thing that you run into when you're a business owner. And you go, who do you call? Where do you go to talk about those things? Where do you go when you're wrestling with a big idea and you need other people who will disagree with you to come and really rake you over the coals and refine you? Where does that happen? And so there's so many great groups in Sioux Falls. We got things like Falls Foundry, and we have an incubator, and we have these community colleges like STI or Southeast Tech that are all helping kind of move people forward with their thing. But we said, where's the spot? Where is a common ground where they can come together, where we're not an incubator, you don't pay us 25 grand, sign a 2-year lease or do anything to hang out here. We're not a co-working space that says, hey, here's a desk, you can rent it for so many dollars per month. There's already great groups in Sioux Falls that do that. But where's the culture and community happen? And so we started asking ourselves, and we said, we don't know. And then we started asking you. And we, through the course of several meetings in our office, people we respect, people we don't really like their opinion but want to hear it, other business owners, we said, hey, does Sioux Falls need this? Is this a gap that needs to be filled in Sioux Falls? And if so, how do we fill it? And we got a resounding yes, the gap needs to be filled. And we said, okay, let's say that we have this building, this old bakery we're going to renovate. It's 8,500 square feet. There's plenty of space. What would get you, local business person, you, local creator, doer, thinker, to come and participate? And here's the feedback we got. We got the feedback that, hey, I want to know other people there are like me and that they're trying to better themselves in the community, right? They don't have to be like me politically or religious, none of that kind of stuff, demographics. But they've got to be striving forward to better their communities. I don't care if they're an insurance agent or a painter, it doesn't make any difference to me, but they got to be proactive on that. Okay, get that. We need a space to congregate, right? It's a huge space. A space to congregate where when I go in there, I know that I can go in there for that purpose. I can go get my work done, but I can also be in the environs of that kind of rich creativity. Some of you don't have the opportunity to be in a rich, vibrant office environment. I've not hung out with the crew at Lemonly, but I've walked by and seen in their offices, and I don't know that many other folks in town have the opportunity to be in that kind of environment where you have all these highly creative people challenging each other. Or our offices where you come in and it's crazy and there's music playing and dogs running around and we're solving these crazy problems. Where's the space for that? And so we heard that you wanted a space to be around other folks like you who are interested in growing. You wanted a physical spot to come to. You told us that we need to charge a membership. This was not an idea we came up with. We had had other ideas up our sleeve. And across the board, we had business owners say, you know what, you're making a mistake if you don't charge, because I want to know that the people who are in the room have skin in the game too. They're as serious as I am. I don't want to waste my time. And so we said, okay, well, what do we charge? And so we started asking. We asked people all over the country. We put Brian, if you follow Brian, you've seen him travel all over the world. The behind-the-scenes task of him flying around was meeting with these other spaces, these other collaboration spots around the country. Some of them are old, some of them are young, but they were all successful. And we asked them, and we asked you guys, and people all up and down the Midwest. And they came back to say, hey, we think it's worth $1,000 a year, $100 a month, or $15 a day to come. And so I was talking with an entrepreneur, a very successful CEO down in Omaha, and he said, man, if I knew that I could pay $100 to meet the movers and shakers at any given time, like I could just decide at 2:30 on a Tuesday, I want to go pop into this spot because I need to be challenged. I'm looking for my next teammate or whatever. $100 is the best deal in town. So we knew we were onto something there. And we said, okay, well, what do we provide for that dollar, right? Because if you're going to give us money, then we got to give you something. What do we give you? And across the board, we thought, oh, if we have this cool space, that would be enough. And they said, no, that's not enough. And they said, well, what if we have better Wi-Fi and we have better coffee? And everyone said, yeah, that's expected. Everyone's got that figured out. That's great. Have gigabit. We don't care. We said, okay, well, what is it? And the answer we got was really surprising. The answer was each other. We want access to each other, which is beautiful, I think. And so we said, well, if we can be the facilitators of this richness, if we can add our own little flair on it, but facilitate rich communities, man, would that be a privilege. And you know what's great about that is, in particular, my experience allows for that kind of space to happen. I've been very fortunate enough, starting at the age of 19, to build communities, whether it be in church launching or networking communities or businesses or community organizations. I've had a long history of kind of rallying people together and providing this kind of rich community. And guess what? So is my business partner, Brian. A kind of strange thing for us that we're kind of coming back this in our life. Him too, at the age of around 20, got involved with not-for-profits and helped start several of those and rally people together for causes. And so we said, this is a weird mix of our skill sets where, yes, we have this romantic love of this old building. That's great. We have this rich community of Sioux Falls. That's awesome. But who would have thought that our bringing people together could be something that meets a need? So we're super excited for the opportunity to serve you. Man, we are not perfect. We do not have like some ninja strategy up our sleeve. We are hanging on by our fingernails at the demand of people to say that Sioux Falls needs this. So we've kind of just laid it all on the table and said, hey, we're going to ask everybody. We want to ask college students. We want to talk to high schoolers. We want to go talk to the richest people in town, the most successful, the least successful, men, women, everybody. And what we're being met with is just unanimous support saying this needs to happen. And so for us, that's a real privilege, and quite frankly, we're humbled by it. So we're hoping that you decide to take a part in this, at least check it out and know about it. If you decide, you say, you know what, forget the money, but that's not my personality. I don't want to come hang out with people. I don't like that kind of thing. That's fine. What we would hope is that that when people ask about it, you say, you know what, you got to go check it out. It's meeting a need in the community, and that excites me. We are not the answer to Sioux Falls. We are a solution to a growing community. A growing community has needs. They've got challenges. Some of those challenges might be coordination, right? Or they might be communication, or just the connecting of folks. And so we hope to be at least a spot on the map, right? Our little corner of the north end of downtown where that sort of thing can happen. And that really, really excites me. Brian and I have committed a lot of funds to this to happen, and there's a lot of other people who are already committing, and that excites us. And so we really think we're on to something, and we would love your participation and feedback. If you're seeing this and you haven't taken a tour, find Brian or I and take a tour. I would love to see what you think of the space. We'd also love your ideas on how do we make this really rich. A couple of things that we were told by other people around the country were keep it simple. You know what? Give people a great, comfortable space to come to do their thing. They will meet and interact with each other already. But man, have some great food every once in a while. Throw a potluck. Have a bring your own beer night. You know what? We can do that. We're excited to do that and to facilitate those kinds of interactions. I do have a couple last ideas I want to share with you that have come up. They are just ideas at this point, as you can see, because we don't even have a floor, right? But maybe by the time you're watching this video, maybe there's already a floor in, I don't know. But a couple of ideas were to have two different types of spaces. So I'm gonna pick up the camera again. I apologize. And I am finishing a cold, so if I sound funny, I apologize again. We've been told by people, say, hey, have a space that is vibrant, open, and airy, and light, and cheery, and where people can come and have desks that face the window if someone wants to come in and work by themselves, have collaboration desks where people can get together, have booths, have all sorts of different spaces where people can congregate. Because some people want to come and they want to work by themselves but be in the environs of creativity. Other people want to come and work with people. So we need your ideas on how to use this so that it would challenge you and meet your needs. The other thing we were told was, this is going to get noisy, I mean, let's be honest, you guys are a little noisy. If you come in here and there's 30 or 50 or 100 people, that's an exciting space, but it might not be something where you could hang out for several hours and get your work done. So we said, okay, how can we tone it down? So that's what we're doing in the basement. If we go back down in the basement, we're going to go down, down, down. I think the camera will adjust to the very dark basement. Fantastic. Okay, so it's a mess down here, but I need you to be visionary. We said, what if this space was, you come downstairs, it's literally quieter down here. You don't hear road noise, you don't hear airplanes. It's just got a nice somber feel to it. What if we made a space that was more like a library, more like a cigar lounge, where you could come, maybe have a single chair, double chairs, commune with one another, literally have a scotch, and talk with one another in a quiet space, to come read a book where you're out of the hubbub. And so we think that may be what we use this basement space for. And I'm going to back up over here. I'm backing up into the northeast corner so you can kind of get a sense of it. It's very large. It's maybe, I would guess 50 by 50. It's a huge room. And it is very quiet down here. So could this space be used for that? And would that excite you? Would that be a space for you? We hope that this can meet as many people's needs for connecting and collaborating as possible. You know what? And I think a lot of the folks who come here, honestly, I'm going to turn the camera back around. Honestly, they're going to have their own desk. They're going to have an office somewhere. They're going to have a place to where, they meet already and do their work. We're not asking you to relocate your office. We're just saying, what if you want to run into other people who are like you? Where's that space where you could come? And we think this could be a really awesome space. Last thing I'm going to show you is the steel building before my battery runs out here. I have no idea what's out here, so heads up. Let's turn on a light. It may be way too dark. Nope. You get kind of the scope. I'm sorry it's so dark. We only have like 3 functioning light bulbs. But a huge steel building out here, which will be used in part as a wood shop for now, and also maybe a future kind of playground area to let loose for the people in our community. So I hope that you find the space to join us in this journey. Whether or not membership is right for you is one question, but the opportunity to help bring the community together, I think Sioux Falls is really ripe for that opportunity to come together and do something awesome that benefits everybody else. And we're excited that we can be a part of it. We're doing our best, maybe sometimes ignorantly, but doing our best to meet the needs that we're being asked. And I'm going to end by showing you the front of this cool old building here. And I want you to think about, what could this space be? What would it be for you? And what could it be for the community? Thank you guys for your time. And I can't wait to give you a tour.